My brothers and sisters, what is going on? Still Sermon in the house. Tuesday evening, another video. These are my week 10 picks. We are officially halfway through the season. It's been a crazy first half to say the least. A lot of twists and turns, a lot of upsets, and a lot of surprises as well, which I'll be getting into in this video in a little bit. I mean, this has been one of the most wide open NFL seasons that I've seen in recent memory. You thought last year was wide open. This year, I think, one ups it a little bit. You got teams that are playing as expected. Then you got big surprise teams, and then you got major disappointments, and then you got stupid crap like the NFC South. It's been an amazing first half of the season. Let's have a great second half. And as far as my picks go, I continue to be on a roll. 11-2 in week 9, which I thought was going to be the hardest week of the season for me. But I went 11-2. Best week by far. And I even looked at this. I even did the math on this. Since week 6, get this, since week 6, my record when I was 44-36 total entering week 6, since then, my record is 42-14. That's right. 42-14 since week 6. And I'm 86-50 on the season. And I lead my division right now. I have just been on fire with these picks so far, man. And let's keep up the hot streak, man. Let's make it 5 great weeks in a row. You know, this has just been such an amazing stretch for me, man. And it's gotten me excited to do these picks again. You know, I think I'm starting to find my groove. But, yeah, let's... I'm going to go ahead now and do my biggest winners and losers for week 9. So my biggest winner, it was actually a little bit of a toss-up between who I thought my biggest winner was for week 9. But I'm going to give my biggest winner for week 9 to the New York Jets. The New York Jets pulled off an upset over the Buffalo Bills. And the Jets, don't look now, are 6-3. They asserted themselves right in the hunt in that stacked AFC East. While I don't think Zach Wilson played particularly well, the defense played Josh Allen incredibly tough. So much so that Josh Allen might have an injury for this week. Not that I want to see Josh Allen get injured. I mean, let's be honest. Personally, I love Josh Allen. He's my favorite quarterback in the league right now. But the Jets are just a real tough team. They did it with defense, the run game, and Sauce Gardner is looking like the best player in the draft so far right now. The New York Jets are 6-3. And get this, man, as if that's not crazy enough, the Jets being 6-3. If that ain't crazy enough, get a load of this. If the Dolphins and Bills both lose this week, the Jets will be in first place in the AFC East. Who would think 10 weeks into the season that we'd be saying the Jets could be leading the AFC East? Who would be saying that beginning of the season? So yeah, the Jets, they're my biggest winner for week 9. Now my biggest loser for week 9. There were some strong candidates for my biggest loser for week 9. Green Bay was a real strong candidate. Indianapolis was a strong candidate. Washington was probably going to be the biggest one. But after much thought, I am going to give it to the Las Vegas Raiders as my biggest loser for week 9. Why is that? Well, they did it again. Third time this season, they've had a lead of 17 or more, and they blow it and lose. This time to Jacksonville. Vegas is just so dysfunctional. They have all that talent, and they're sitting at 2-6, last place in the AFC West. The Raiders are just a complete and utter mess right now, and I don't think it's going to change anytime this season, you know. I mean, they have a winnable game this week coming up, but the Raiders, I am just very upset with them right now. I mean, I thought Vegas could be a playoff contender this year, and they're sitting at 2-6. I mean, they still have time to turn it around, but the way they've been playing this year, man, they have just been one of the biggest disappointments this year. So, yeah, Vegas, they blow it again. They're my biggest loser for Week 9. But, yeah, because the season is now officially halfway over, that means with the tournament, all the divisions are finals. So if you want to join the tournament, you are now going to have to wait until next year because we are halfway through the season. But as always, rules stay the same. You only need score predictions for your spreads. And remember now, every win is worth 2 points, and you don't get dock points for a loss now. I took that out of the tournament. But, yeah, that's Week 9, and these are my Week 10 picks. 2022 NFL season. Let's get it started, and hopefully another strong week. Kicking things off, the Thursday night game. Got an NFC South showdown between the surprising Atlanta Falcons at 4-5, who are somehow a half game behind Tampa Bay for the NFC South. And they're going to Charlotte to play the Panthers, who are 2-7. They got waxed by the Bengals in Cincinnati. Joe Mixon absolutely went off on them. And the Carolina Panthers, they're starting to look like the team that we thought they'd be. P.J. Walker started the game for the Panthers, and then Baker Mayfield came in. Made it a little bit better for the Panthers, considering they were down 35-0 at halftime to the Bengals. And they only lose by 21 to them. But still, Carolina, not a good team at all. And as I said, you know, Atlanta, they're a big surprise team this year. I didn't think Atlanta would be competitive this year. In fact, I thought the Falcons were going to have the worst record in the league before the season began. And literally the only reason they're not in first place is because of a BS roughing the passer call on Tom Brady. But, yeah, Atlanta looks competitive this year. They're getting it done on the ground. Their defense is tough, too. They got it done over Carolina a couple weeks ago when DJ Moore pretty much handed them a win in overtime in regulation, and the Falcons won it in overtime. I think this time is going to be different, though. I think the Falcons take care of business in regulation this time, and they complete the sweep of the Panthers. I really wanted to go Carolina here because it's hard to sweep opponents, especially nowadays, but it's just Carolina. They are just not a good team whatsoever. And I just think that with the quarterback dilemmas that Carolina has, they're not going to be able to take advantage of Atlanta's pass defense because the Falcons have a real bad pass defense. So for that reason, I am going to go ahead and say that the Falcons complete the sweep of the Carolina Panthers. So give me the Falcons. Next at bat, we have the Sunday slate of games, and it's back to Europe we go. Seattle Seahawks and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This one is in Germany, and I cannot do a German accent, unfortunately. I'm not going to try to do one because I don't want to offend anyone who's German who may be watching this video. But yeah, I cannot do a German accent. I believe this game is in Munich, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this one is in Germany. Seahawks and the Bucs. Seattle, another surprise team. Who would have thought that with the Russell Wilson trade and with them having Geno Smith as their quarterback, that the Seahawks would be 6-3 and the NFC West would be pretty much be theirs to lose halfway through the season. Not I. Kenneth Walker, absolute stud in the backfield for the Seahawks. And Seattle looks like a really decent team so far. Pete Carroll, like I said a couple weeks ago, he deserves to be in the Coach of the Year talks. Got to give a lot of credit to him with what he's doing with this Seahawks team right here. So yeah, Seattle's playing incredibly well so far. Tampa Bay Bucs, they are leading the NFC South, but they're 4-5. That's a disappointment. Everyone thought Tampa Bay's going to, be a top 3 team this year. They're going to run away with the NFC South this year. And they're sitting at 4-5 halfway through the season. They got it done over the Rams, but, I just don't buy that win at all. Because Tampa Bay, they couldn't catch anything all game long. And then all of a sudden, the game-winning drive happens, and all of a sudden they can catch every single pass. Like, I don't get it. That right there, that really just gives ammo to people who say that the league is rigged. And I don't blame them for saying it. Meanwhile, Seattle, they completed the sweep of the Cardinals. I will say this. The Bucs, I do think they can give the Seahawks a hard time defensively. But my thing is, it's going to come down to who has the better offense. And right now, if you ask me who the better team offensively is, it is the Seahawks. Tampa Bay has all this firepower on offense, and they're getting nowhere with it. A game-winning drive by Brady, just one game-winning drive by Brady, isn't going to change my mind on it. Tampa Bay is just not a good team this year. And the Seahawks, they are taking everyone by surprise this year. I think the biggest X factor in this game, like I said, Kenneth Walker against Tampa Bay's defense. I think if they get Kenneth Walker involved in this game, the Seahawks' chances of winning are going to skyrocket. And knowing that Pete Carroll is a far better coach than Todd Bowles, I think that is my determination right there. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks to improve to 7-3, increase their stranglehold on the NFC West, and getting the job done over the Tampa Bay Bucs as the Falcons move to first place in the NFC South. Give me the Seahawks to defeat the Buccaneers and improve to 7-3. Then back to the States we go for the 1 o'clock kickoff games. Got a battle of 2 0-4 teams in the Super Bowl as the Minnesota Vikings take on the Buffalo Bills. But in all seriousness, this is actually going to be a really solid game. Minnesota 7-1 on the season. They've won 6 in a row. That 7-1 record they have is the second best record in the entire league. Kirk Cousins playing incredibly well. Conducted a fourth quarter comeback for the Vikings against his old team, Washington. And the Vikings are playing really well. Do they win ugly? Yeah. Do they win by a field goal or less or slightly more? Yeah. But at the end of the day, winning teams find ways to win games. And that's exactly what the Vikings are doing. That's why they have a commanding lead in the NFC North, and I don't see them relinquishing it unless Green Bay goes on a crazy run or the Vikings just flat out choke it. But yeah, Minnesota is playing incredibly well. Then you got the Buffalo Bills. Big headline with the Bills. First of all, they lost to the Jets and they're 6-2 now. But I gotta say this about the Bills. The AFC East is not a cakewalk for them. I thought they would run away with that division beginning of the year with maybe Miami playing well enough to be a playoff team. But, look at it. Buffalo's 6-2, but the Dolphins and Jets are right on their ankles. It's not going to be an easy task for Buffalo to win the AFC East because they're 0-2 in the division. Both their losses in the division to Miami and the Jets. So if I'm a Bills fan, I'm going to start to be a little concerned about, can we win the division this year? Can we be a wild card game this year? We got to find out a way to beat the Dolphins and Jets. But we got to focus on this game first. Why is that? Josh Allen might have an injury in this game. And if it's a severe injury, they fear that it's a torn UCL, I think it is. If it is, then the Bills, their task for winning the AFC East and being a top seed in the AFC, it just got even harder. They can't afford to lose Josh Allen long term. Now, I don't know what the full extent of it is, but this kind of reminds me with when Big Ben had that elbow problem and he tried to play through it. But I got to tell you this, if he does have a serious elbow problem, He can't play through it. You got to let him recover. You got to let him heal up. It's going to suck for a little bit if you got to go with Case Keenum as your quarterback for the time being. But you got to do what's best for your franchise quarterback right there. You can't afford to lose him. You know? So this is actually a harder game to pick than you think. I mean, common sense would say, it's the Bills at home. They've slaughtered just about everyone they've played at home. The Vikings, they're kind of due for a loss. Bills will win this one easily. I don't know now, just with the status of Josh Allen and, Case Keenum having to go up against his former team. I do think Minnesota can give them a really good game with the firepower they have at the receiving core with, Thielen and KJ Osborne and Justin Jefferson, a good ground game with Dalvin Cook. I think the Vikings are going to give them a good game no matter if Josh Allen starts in this game or not. But I'll tell you, with Josh Allen, I think the Bills will for sure get it done because I just think Minnesota is just kind of due for a loss, like I said. But without Josh Allen, I think it'll be way closer. So I have not heard any developments on the situation for Josh Allen yet. I'll probably hear more about it as the week goes by. But for right now, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to rebound after that loss and take care of business against the Vikings. So I'm going to go Buffalo for right now. Put a little asterisk next to this one because I might change it depending on the status of Josh Allen. But for right now, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win a close one. Then we go from the game of the week to the toilet bowl of the week. What a transition. Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. This one is in Chicago. Lions coming off a win over Green Bay, 15-9. They picked off Aaron Rodgers not once, not twice, but 3 times. 2 of them in the red zone, I believe. At least 2 of them were in the red zone. And the Lions get it done over Green Bay, 15-9. So the Lions defense finally steps up big time, and they shut down Green Bay. Granted, Green Bay sucks this year, but anytime you can shut down that offense they got, that deserves a pat on the back. Especially with the way Detroit has been playing on defense this year, with their defense being one of the worst. Chicago Bears. That offense they have is starting to get an identity. Justin Fields is starting to play real well for them. And, I really do think that the Bears are just a true solid receiver and a run game away from having a good offense. But my thing with the Bears is that they're just so out of sync. They kind of remind me of us from 2017 and 2018. When the offense was great, the defense sucked. And when the defense was great, the offense sucked. They lost 35-32 to Miami. The offense played really well, but the defense just wasn't there. Now, I'm not going to pin it all on the Bears' defense because Miami's offense is really good. But still, the Bears, they just lack consistency all around. That's why this is my toilet bowl of the week. I really don't have a strong bearing on this game because if you're going to play Detroit, you better be able to score points on them. And it looks like the Bears, they are able to score points. Lions are too. And I think if there's any game for Chicago to get their act together on defense at least 1 week, I think this is the game to do it. So part of me wants to go with Detroit here just because I respect what they did against Green Bay. But I don't know. I just can't trust Detroit to win 2 in a row. I just think that the Bears are just a more established team right now. And I think that they're going to, eventually find a way to close out a game with Justin Fields as the QB. And their receivers are going to take a little bit more to develop. So I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears, mainly because they're at home as well. Lions are not a good road team, so I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears to get the job done over Detroit. I think it'll be a close game, but give me Chicago. Next, we got the Denver Broncos and the Tennessee Titans. This one is down in Nashville. Broncos coming off their bye, and I believe the last time they played, they won against the Jags in London, if I'm not mistaken. But Denver, they are just still not a good team this year at all. They've been one of the biggest disappointments, if not the biggest disappointment this year. Because everyone's like, oh, they got Russell Wilson. They're a Super Bowl contender now. Yeah, no, they're not. They suck. Tennessee Titans. I got to give a lot of respect to the Titans defense. They just seem to have that defense that can stop a high-powered offense. The Titans kind of remind me of the 49ers a little bit. They're kind of like the 49ers of the AFC. They have a really good defense when they all mesh together, and they will blitz you. They're very physical, and they can run the ball too. I mean, they got the best running back in the game in Derrick Henry, I mean, the Titans, and it's kind of like an uncertain future with quarterback like San Francisco. I don't know if Jimmy G's going to stay there or they're going to roll with Trey Lance when he comes back. Same thing with the Titans. Are they going to roll with Malik Willis long term? Are they going to have Ryan Tannehill finish up? I don't know. But, I'm not going to put it all on Malik Willis because he's just a rookie. But I do see some potential in him. I just don't see enough of it. I just got to wait for him to develop more, I guess. But, like I said, Tennessee, they played incredibly well on defense. They were making life miserable for Patrick Mahomes. They made Mahomes throw 68 times on Sunday night. Kansas City won the game, but 68 pass attempts for Patrick Mahomes. That is how much Tennessee's defense brings it. They are a really good defensive team. And when you play a team like the Titans, you're going to have to win a fist fight with them. There's nothing wrong with winning a shootout, but you got to win like these fist fight type of games. It's like a boxing match when you play the Titans, They're gonna take you like 7, 8, 9 rounds, and you better come in fighting. That's the kind of coach that Mike Vrabel is. Denver Broncos, they just don't have the team that does it. And I think that with their lack of offense going on this year, and with the way Tennessee plays defense, I just think that's a really bad matchup for the Broncos. So, this is my lock of the week right here. I respect what the Titans did so much against Kansas City. I'm not even going to say the Titans struggle to close out games. Oh, the Titans, they can never finish off their opponent. I think this is the week they get a convincing win because I'm starting to get a little bit more respect for the Titans. I'm going to go Tennessee here. My lock of the week over Denver. Next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. This one is at Arrowhead. Speaking of the Chiefs, a come-from-behind win against the Titans. They were down 17-9 to them at one point. And I gotta say, Juju Smith-Schuster is pretty much like Travis Kelce as a wide receiver. He does exactly what Travis Kelce does. The catch and run. The yak. He is a great alternative to Travis Kelce. I mean, it's not Tyreek Hill. He surely doesn't have the speed like Tyreek Hill. But when you're able to use a wide receiver in a way that a tight end is supposed to be used, that is a really good sign for Patrick Mahomes right there. And a really good sign for Andy Reid. That's why he's one of the most successful coaches of all time. And that's why Patrick Mahomes is probably the best quarterback in the league. Kansas City, they're playing really well. And that comeback that they had against the Titans pretty much solidified it as, they're just a clutch team. And their defense stood up big time. They got gashed all night by Derrick Henry in the first half. Andy Reid makes adjustments. Chiefs defense steps up big time, and they limit the Titans. So Kansas City, yeah, they're still one of the top dogs in the AFC. And if Buffalo loses to Minnesota, then the Kansas City Chiefs, all they got to do is beat Jacksonville, and they're on top of the AFC again. The Jags, speaking of come-from-behind wins, down 17-0 to the Raiders. And Jacksonville comes all the way back and beats them 27-20. Now, that's the type of team that I'm talking about when you're rebuilding and you're remaining competitive. The Jags could have easily folded and been like, you know what? We're down 17 to nothing. We're not going to try and come back and win this game. That's something that my team would do. You know, we get down in a deficit and Mike Tomlin just waves the white flag. But Doug Peterson has this team fighting, and I think Doug Peterson is a really good head coach for Jacksonville. I think he's their guy moving forward because he just never has these guys give up. Jacksonville, I think they've been in all 8 of their games this season. But let's be honest, you know, they're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. That is no easy task at all. I think Jacksonville will give them a good game, but I just don't see how Kansas City drops this one. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs to get the job done over Jacksonville. With all due respect to the Jags, I do think they will give the Chiefs everything they have, but the Chiefs are playing to take control of the AFC because now they can take advantage of the fact that Josh Allen might not play this week for Buffalo. So I am going to go with Kansas City to get the job done over the Jags. Next up, Cleveland Browns and the Miami Dolphins. This one is down in Miami as the Browns coming off a bye week. The Dolphins are coming off a surprising shootout over the Chicago Bears. I got to say this about Tua Tagovailoa. Low-key, I think he should be in the MVP talks. This guy is just showing how valuable he is to this Dolphins team. The Dolphins, I think, have won every game except for the Cincinnati game. The Dolphins have won every game that he started in this year. And you know, this Miami team, there's a reason that they're 6-3. There's a reason that they're sitting, you know, a half game back of the Buffalo Bills. They are just a completely different team. And they are living up to their expectations this year. Mike McDaniel is doing a phenomenal job down in Miami. And like I said, the Dolphins had really big expectations on offense this year with getting Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle being a great compliment to him. And they're exceeding it so far. Defense looks a little spotty at times, but the Dolphins are playing really well on both ends this season. And in a couple years, I could be sitting down here saying that, you know, the Dolphins could be a possible Super Bowl contender. I mean, I definitely think that they are a good enough team to make the playoffs, but who knows? We just might be able to see for the first time, I believe, since 1984, that South Beach has a Super Bowl representation of the Miami Dolphins. Cleveland Browns, anything but a Super Bowl team. Even though they're coming off a bye, there are a lot of question marks surrounding the Browns. The biggest one that I'm hearing over here is this going to be Kareem Hunt's last season in Cleveland? Because he is a free agent next year. If I'm the Browns, I would definitely either try to keep him, or if you absolutely have to get rid of him, give him to a team that needs a run game real badly and see if you can get some of those first-round picks back. Because the Browns, they ain't going to be without a first-round pick until at least 2025. So if I'm the Browns, I would shop Kareem Hunt to get some first-round picks back. You know? But let's be honest, it doesn't matter really what the story is for the Cleveland Browns. They're coming off a big win over the Bengals. The Dolphins are a different team. Miami has a bunch of speed, and they have a bunch of physicality to them. And I just don't think Cleveland's inconsistent defense with Joe Woods is going to be able to live up to that. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins to win their 4th in a row. Miami is playing extremely well. Tua Tagovailoa, like I said, low-key dark horse MVP candidate. And Tyreek Hill, I think he is just going to torch these guys left and right all day long down in Miami. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins to get the job done over the Browns. Then we got the Houston Texans coming on up to New Jersey to play the Giants, as the Texans are coming off a loss. I don't even remember who they played, and I don't. Oh yeah, that's right. They played the Philadelphia Eagles, and they actually gave the Eagles some problems. You know, they were really competitive in that game with Philly. I mean, Pierce ran the ball a lot. Davis Mills had a couple really good drives. I'm telling you, if I'm a Texans fan, I'd feel actually kind of good about that game, despite the fact they lost by 12. It's incredibly misleading. They gave the Eagles a lot of problems for 3 quarters. It was just the fourth quarter the mistakes started to happen, and Philly cashed in on it. But self-inflicted wounds like that will always do that to a team that's rebuilding like Houston. So yeah, they gave Philly a run for their money, surprisingly, when everyone thought the Eagles would just blow the doors off of them. New York Giants coming off their bye, and I gotta say the bye came at a good time for the Giants as they were traveling a lot over the past couple weeks. They had a game in London, then they flew down to Jacksonville, and then they had to fly on up to Seattle. That's a lot of traveling for the Giants, so they needed this bye week to rest up, get some players healthy, and now they're coming home to play a struggling Texans team, a struggling rebuilding Houston team. Like I keep saying every single week about the Giants, I love what Brian DeBall is doing over there. I think he is just making these guys as tough as they possibly can. He has made Daniel Jones into a leader on this team, and he has resurrected Saquon Barkley from the dead. Giants fans went from listen to trade offers for Saquon Barkley's never going to reach his peak, to Saquon Barkley is a league leader in rushing yards now. And Giant fans are going like, we got to sign this guy long term. We got to find a way to snag this guy up in free agency because Saquon Barkley's a free agent next year. So yeah, the Giants, they're playing incredibly well. I like to see it. First time in a long time I've seen the Giants be this tough. And you know what? I think this is the week the Giants get a convincing win. They have lacked a convincing win all season this year. I think this is the week to do it. I mean, sure, maybe Houston will hang in with them, but at the end of the day, the Giants, they're a winning team this year. Winning teams find ways to win games. I'm going to go with the New York Big Blue Football Giants to get the job done over the Texans. Then we got my game. New Orleans Saints at 3-6. Heading on up to Acrisure Stadium. I can't believe I just called it that. To play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coming off a bye week, we are 2-6. There's a bunch I have to say, so I'm going to try to keep it at a minimum, and I'll have a lot more in my preview coming up later this week. So the New Orleans Saints are coming off a Monday night loss to the Baltimore Ravens. They got destroyed by them, 27-13. But anyone who watched that game knew that game wasn't that close. It was 27-6. The Saints got a garbage time touchdown. Andy Dalton, how this guy is still in the NFL is beyond me. I mean, the guy literally just stands there in the pocket like a deer in headlights, stares down receivers, and doesn't try to make a play on anything. They have to get Alvin Kamara involved more. The defense just continues to be a disappointment this year. And with Baltimore's defense, I figure the Saints could at least put some points up on the board because the Saints have quietly been a good offensive team this year. And Baltimore's defense is prone to blowing big games, as we've seen earlier in the season. But it's just some things never change. Andy Dalton, right up there with Kirk Cousins and Matthew Stafford for being a terrible primetime quarterback. He's just always had that label, and it's never going to go away. Once you do bad in primetime, there's never going back. When Drew Brees was over there down in New Orleans, he thrived with the lights on him. He thrived in clutch situations. It's amazing that 4 years ago when these two teams met in New Orleans, it was a battle of the two most clutch quarterbacks that the NFL ever saw. Two quarterbacks that always, if you put the ball in 9 or 7's hands, they could lead you to a fourth quarter comeback. Now you're playing, now you have a battle of a quarterback who can't get it done when the heat's on him, and a rookie quarterback in Kenny Pickett, who I'm not going to say isn't clutch because it's still extremely early in his career, but we don't know if he can be that guy yet. So the Saints, they've just been a big letdown on defense. Offense, got shut down by the Ravens, which leads me to talking about us. Guess who's coming back for us this week? TJ Watt. TJ Watt is coming back for us this week. His first game since week 1. He's missed the last 8.5 weeks because of a pec injury and because he needed knee surgery as well. So TJ Watt is expected to play in this game. That is a massive confidence booster for the Pittsburgh Steelers right there. We haven't had much to be optimistic about this year. We're 2-6. We had much to be optimistic about. With the quarterback situation, the terrible offense play calling, defense being inconsistent this year, O-line not being able to open up holes for Najee Harris. Najee Harris himself not playing well. So any sort of optimism that we can get this year, I'll take it. Because when you're a rebuilding team like this, you got to be with an even mix of young players with some veterans on this team, you got to be able to remain competitive. There's a reason I posted a video that says the Steelers aren't tanking. You have a rookie quarterback and you have an O-line that you're going to produce off of, and some rookie wide receivers are trying to earn a spot on this team. There's no way this team is going to tank. It's just not going to happen. Plus, you got the reigning defensive player of the year, and you got a guy who's always capable in the secondary to make a big play and make a Fitzpatrick. This team is just not going to tank. Plain and simple. So, what do I think about this game? I think these two teams are kind of the opposite of each other, whereas the Steelers are a better defensive team this year than the Saints. The Saints are the better offensive team. Like I said, they're kind of like the opposite. But one factor comes in, and that's Andy Dalton. If Andy Dalton starts this game for the Saints, it's going to be a really big confidence booster for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because, me being a fan, I know Andy Dalton all too well. He spent 9 years in Cincinnati. Andy Dalton never does well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has not beaten the Steelers since 2015. Andy Dalton never plays well against the Steelers. I think the Saints, I don't know what the deal is with Jameis Winston. I have to look more into it. But honestly, even Taysom Hill would have a better chance of beating the Steelers for this one. I think that's the biggest X factor for this one. Kind of reminds me of Cordell Stewart, Slash, for you younger Steeler fans. That's the quarterback who was the quarterback for the Steelers when I first became a fan back in 2002. We called him Slash over here because he was a quarterback, he could run the ball, and every now and then he could catch a pass. So, he was a quarterback / running back / wide receiver, so we call him Slash. Okay? But that's what Taysom Hill reminds me of. So, who do I got for this one? I need an upset this week. Screw it. I'm going with my guys to pull off the upset here. Just because Andy Dalton starts this game, I think that is going to give us a big advantage. Like I said, Andy Dalton never does well against us. TJ Watt's coming back in this game. We're coming off a bye. Hopefully Tomlin, if he lives up to his word, says, yeah, I've been there before when he was asked about being 2-6 in uncharted territory, as they put it. Hopefully he preps this team up to playing well. I think we take advantage of a struggling Saints defense here. I think finally George Pickens can have a big game. I think finally the receiving core can step up, and finally Najee Harris and Jalen Warren can have a strong game here. I think this has potential to be Kenny Pickett's best game of his young career so far. Saints are favored by 2.5 in this game. I need an upset this week, and what better way to come off a bye? And I'm actually going to pick my guys to pull off the upset here. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Saints. This is the first time I've picked the Steelers to win a game since like week 4. Can you believe that? I haven't picked the Steelers to win a game in like 6 weeks. But, how can you blame me? We haven't had a good year. How can you blame me? But unfortunately, this might be one of the last times that I pick the Steelers this season, depending on how this game goes. But let's see how this one goes. But yes, I believe we can pull off the upset against the Saints. Give me the Steelers to beat the Saints. Then we got the later slate of games. The 4 o'clock hour games. Indianapolis Colts and the Las Vegas Raiders. This one is out in Vegas. Again, another tricky one. Why is that? The Colts suck this year. Sam Ehlinger's their QB, and they just fired their head coach and Frank Reich. Jeff Saturday, when he was back on those stacked Colts team, he's going to be their interim coach for the rest of the season. So, it looks like firing a coach can be done. And I would love it if the Steelers interviewed Frank Reich and brought him in as offensive coordinator. Just imagine. Frank Reich was able to make Carson Wentz look like an MVP caliber quarterback back in 2017. I think if you at least interview him and bring him on in here, he could really gel with this offense. Make Kenny Pickett look great. Make Najee Harris look great. I would love Frank Reich as an OC. But it's probably not going to happen just because I know Art Jr. all too well. Las Vegas. There's absolutely no excuse for them. They're 2-6. They've blown 3 games this year where they've had a lead of 17 or more. The Raiders are just a bad team. I don't want to hear this crap about, well, it's a different offense for Devontae Adams. Well, if they give Josh Jacobs the ball more, this happens. They've been feeding the ball to Josh Jacobs, and they're still blowing games. They're not a good team. You can have let me make an analogy here, okay? You can have the nicest looking car ever. Like like a sexy sports car, looks great on the outside, great set of tires. On the inside, it's got nice leather seats. It drives stick, has a 4-speed on it. It could look absolutely gorgeous. But if your battery sucks and your battery's corroded and your engine's not good and it doesn't have good oil, it's a piece of crap. Your foundation is weak. That's what the Raiders are. They are a sports car with a bad engine and corroded battery. That's what the Raiders are. And for that reason, I just really don't know if I can trust Vegas this year for the rest of the season. But I also don't know if I can trust the Colts. Because Indianapolis is just flat out not a good team. They have been suffering at quarterback's position ever since Andrew Luck retired. I really don't know who to go for this game. So in a literal coin flip before I recorded this video, I'm just going to do what I always do and go with the home team and take the Vegas Raiders. I honestly hope that this game just ends in a tie, so that way everyone gets a free W for this game. But, I don't trust either team. Vegas can't hold on to a lead, and the Colts are just a bad team. So I'm going to go with Vegas simply because they're the home team. So give me the Raiders. Then we got the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau, as the Cowboys are coming off a bye week, I believe, and they're 6-2, playing incredibly well. Great defense they got there. Dak Prescott's back. He has all his weapons, and the Cowboys, they are in prime position to battle the Philadelphia Eagles for the NFC East. Green Bay Packers are the complete opposite. They've lost 5 straight games. They're 3-6. They are in a world of hurt in the NFC North. You know, they are just a terrible team. They are not getting anything going on offense. Defense can only do so much for them, but their offense is absolutely abysmal this year. That extension they gave to Aaron Rodgers is coming back to haunt them tremendously, and they are missing Devontae Adams so badly up there. It's just a terrible year for Green Bay. Now, normally, Aaron Rodgers plays very well against the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's only lost to them like a couple of times. So Aaron Rodgers has just owned the Cowboys throughout his career. But here's the thing, Green Bay was just the better team all that time. This time going around, the Cowboys are the better team, and it's not even close. Offensively, Cowboys just own these guys. It ain't even close. They got way better receivers than Green Bay does. They have a better O-line, in my opinion, than Green Bay does. Green Bay, I think, has the advantage on the ground game, which is why I think if they're going to have any chance of beating the Cowboys, they got to get their run. They got to have their 1-2 punch at the running game get going. But even then, I mean, the Cowboys can counter with Tony Pollard and Zeke, you know. And right now, Dak Prescott's the better quarterback between him and Aaron Rodgers. Okay, defense, not even close. Dallas is just the better defensive team. And the way that Green Bay just sucks on offense this year, this was actually really close to being my lock of the week. But I held off on it because there's a small part of me that's going like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers will make it a good game. But we haven't seen that from Aaron Rodgers this year. Green Bay has not looked dominant in any of their games this year, except for the Bears in week 2. But that was early in the season, and let's face it, Aaron Rodgers always beats the Bears. That's not impressive. You know, I just think Dallas is the better team. I just think the Cowboys are just, you know, head and shoulders, top to bottom, the better team coming in this game, and I think that they finally get it done over Green Bay. Dallas improves to 7-2. They're going to keep the pressure on Philly. And Green Bay, I think they drop their 6th straight. I am not going to pick the Packers for the rest of the season until they show me that they can consistently win games. I'm not talking about just one win over Detroit or Carolina or whoever they play. I'm talking about winning about 3 or 4 games in a row like they were used to with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. Until that happens, I'm going to pick against Green Bay every game. Give me the Dallas Cowboys to get the job done over the Packers. Then we got the Arizona Cardinals heading to LA to face the Rams as the Cardinals coming off a loss to the Seahawks. And how Cliff Kingsbury has a job is beyond me. I think Kyler Murray is criminally overrated. He has a lot of firepower to work with, and he never gets the most out of any of it. Arizona is just a real bad team, and it's showing. Rams, on the other hand, are on a losing streak as well. I think they've lost, 4 in a row? At least 3 in a row, I know. Rams are just not playing well. I mean, Matthew Stafford's not getting it done, and Cooper Kupp is just going to have to be the anchor for that LA offense there. They're going to have to get a run game going, and their offensive line is just letting all these sacks and all these big hits happen. Rams just look beat up right now, and they just look drunk from the Super Bowl, you know. However, this could be just what the doctor ordered kind of game for the Rams. Because Sean McVay, he always plays the Arizona Cardinals really well, and he usually has Arizona's number. I just really don't trust the Cardinals at this juncture, and I trust that the Rams at some point will be able to snap their losing streak. Why not this week? I'm going to go with the LA Rams to get the job done over the Cardinals, snap their losing streak, get back in the swing of things in the NFC West. Give me the Rams to get the job done over the Cardinals. Then we got Sunday Night Football. Check your local listings as the LA Chargers head on out to San Francisco to play the 49ers, as the Chargers coming off a comeback win over the Falcons, and they are 5-3, I believe. 49ers are coming off their bye. I don't remember. I remember they won their last game. Oh yeah, that's right. They completed the sweep of the Rams. But 49ers are 4-4 coming in this game. Just going to cut right to the chase. I think the verdict is out on Justin Herbert, and I think he's overrated. I just don't think Justin Herbert is just all that. I mean, I was so hyped on him when the season began and the offense that LA had. But, Austin Eckler's been doing most of the job for the Chargers on offense this year. And going up against a strong defense like the 49ers, I think that is going to be a big test for him. If you can't be that quarterback that is guiding your team to a big game, the Chargers are in a lot of trouble. 49ers, ever since CMC came there, he's been playing as advertised. Knock on wood. Hopefully he stays healthy. And it looks like the 49ers just look like a rejuvenized team right now. And I think San Francisco is not out of it yet. I think their defense is still strong. Their offense is starting to play a lot better. There's a reason to believe the 49ers are far from dead when it comes to the NFC West race and the playoff picture. This was a team that was in the NFC Championship last year. So yeah, you get CMC involved, you get George Kittle involved, you get Deebo Samuel some more time. I think the 49ers are going to be just fine, and I got them taking care of business against the Chargers in this one. I like San Francisco better. I think they're a more constructed team, and I think they handle pressure like this better than the Chargers do. Give me the 49ers to get the job done over the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Then wrapping up Week 10, we got the Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. Washington's 3-game winning streak is over, and they are 4-5. That is a big loss for Washington right there. They blew it in the fourth against Minnesota, against their old quarterback. And this is a potential backbreaker for Washington. This was their chance to assert themselves back in the NFC East. Now they got to play the undefeated Eagles, who are 8-0. Like I said, my Texans pick. The Eagles won, but they had a hard time closing out Houston. That's a little concerning right there if you're an Eagle fan. It looks like the Eagles, not taking anything away, but come on. Who's the best team that the Eagles have played so far? The Cowboys without Dak Prescott? I mean, come on. Philly's had a really easy schedule so far. Washington, sure, they're a scrappy bunch, but Washington can't close out a game either. I just don't know what else to say. Philly, if they had a hard time closing out Houston, I think Washington can give them a good game, but I just think the Eagles are just the better team coming in this one. I don't see how they drop this one. It's just another easy W for them. Again, not taking anything away, but it's not like Washington is just a powerhouse or a force to be reckoned with. It's just that they're a mediocre team going up against a team that's on a hot streak right now. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles to get the job done over Washington to improve to 9-0. That'll do it. Those are my Week 10 picks. 2022 NFL season, 53 minutes in. So thank you all if you tuned in for this long. This is Steel Sermon checking on out for the night. May God be with you all.